Hey everyone. The following video is a celebration of the channel going for 2 years, and I've also been on YouTube for over 5 years. I really hope you enjoy this video. It took me a very long time to make, so enjoy. Hey gang, so I've been hinting about doing this video eventually, but I never really knew how to go about it. A few months ago, I put out a post with 4 movies on it, and one of those being Bruce Almighty. And shout out to the guy who commented, sorry it took so long. I posted that and thought this video is just too special for that. Even when I started the Wheel series, I didn't want to include Bruce Almighty because I wasn't ready. I wasn't joking when I said I wasn't ready. This is the movie that turned my life from a child to a more mature child. I still act like a stupid hit. There's just so much about this movie that I needed over 5 rewatches to talk about. I wrote this script and I watched it at least 10 more times. It's like 5 rewatches in under a week just to find what I needed to talk about. And then it hit me. I'm going scene by scene and I'm going to talk about how they've changed me. So yeah, Bruce Almighty, my favorite movie of all time, is now being talked about on this channel. Let's go ahead and hop into part 1, the movie. Now, unfortunately, I can't really show any movie clips because, I don't own those clips. I don't work for Universal. I sit here and talk about Universal movies. I can't show them. If I could, then I would be making a lot more money, But you know what? I can do what I can, and what I can do is talk about this movie. So let's go ahead and start. The movie opens up with a calm little comedy scene with Jim Carrey, who plays the main character, Bruce Nolan, who has a cute little news story on the world's biggest cookie. The cookie looks like it's made of CGI. Like, it doesn't even look like a cookie. Good things. The story then pauses, and a weird face shows up. That's funny. We get to see Bruce and his girlfriend, Grace, played by Jennifer Aniston, the Friends actor. They go to sleep, and he wakes up and goes to work, and after he uses one of my favorite lines in his beautiful. He gets very horribly treated by Steve Carell, who later gets his own movie and gets the chance to go live, part of his goal to become a news anchor. So, Steve Carell gets his own movie. When did it come out? 4 years later, Evan Almighty. It's actually pretty good. I might talk about that one day. Hopefully it won't take as long to talk about because this moment took over 5 months to do. So he's ready to go live. He gets to go live and be a news anchor. I've been anchor before on a 2-day field trip where we all get to go jobs. I was so dang cool. But he messes it up. Because Evan decided to rub it in. Bruce commits a crime and Nick A30 family-friendly rules by saying, "Back to you!" I can't say that here. He gets mad at his girlfriend and to God. And in the morning, he goes to a job interview and meets God and has a pretty funny interaction with him. And, that's where I actually saw, Morgan Freeman is actually kind of scary when he was intimidating. That was. So after he gets his power, he tries to deny himself and go to a diner. Tests out his powers, and there's an old man in the diner who literally just says nothing. Says nothing about him parting the soup. Does no one else see this? For real, he should be, freaking out. Also, how does no one see all the papers flying around when they part the soup? I don't even know. After this, Bruce goes and tries his power some more and has his fun and getting back to the guys who beat him up earlier. That scene is weird. After that, he gets a passionate night with Grace. That's all I'll say about that. The next day, he uses his powers to get his job back by finding Jimmy Hoffa in the ground. He then goes to the studio where Evan is live, and he messes him up. Why did they cut Bruce off a second after he said the F word, but they let Evan do that for a minute and a half? I don't even know. And then takes her to a nice dinner where Grace thinks he's going to propose. But to be fair, this is Bruce's fault for poor choice of words actually getting down on one knee just to tell Grace that he got anchor. Bruce hears a lot of noises and he goes outside. But first, can we talk about this line? Jace, can you get me down to a dull roar? That is funny. God brings him to Mount Everest, which should have killed him, to be honest. Like, that's really high. Like, he is seriously underdressed. God tells him that he needs to find... God tells him that he needs to listen to the prayers in his head. He tries file cabinets and sticky notes. And finally, the original computer type fast meme. You all know it. Should we put it up? I hope I remember to do that in post. Okay. And in the end, he just types yes to all the prayers. Bruce goes to the party for his new job, and we all hear good things. Like, that happen to everyone. Like, lottery winning, losing pounds. There's a fly in here. He calls Grace to come over, but... He calls Grace to come over, but after he hung up, he got kissed by his new co-anchor, and Grace got here in record time to say this. Like, that was, like, a minute. I don't know how far they live from the house, but it would not take you... It'd take you, like, a minute to get out of the apartment, okay? He gets mad and leaves Bruce. There's a montage of Bruce trying to get Grace back, and they meet up at the school, and Bruce tries again, but it doesn't work, and bad stuff happens here. I really do like the montage. I like the music they use. So Bruce tries again, but it doesn't work, and bad stuff happens. And he meets up with God, who promised God earlier that he would. So basically, here's what happened. There's like a massacre happening outside, right? And so he goes back. And in the beginning, when he first met God, he was mopping the floor. Bruce told him he'd come back at the 7th at 7. When do you think he came back? And here's one of my favorite quotes in any movie at all. You want to see a miracle? Be the miracle. Bruce leaves, gets hit by a truck, and meets God once again and talks to him and sends him back where he came from in all his life and in the hospital. Bruce dies and goes to heaven, but God sent him back. Grace comes to see him, and they'll live happily ever after, with Grace and Bruce getting married. Off screen. Didn't happen in the movie. The story is just amazing. I really do not understand who thought of this. And we'll get to it later. But this story, Jim Carrey, okay, well, actually, I'll just get to this later. But right now, let's talk about the funnies, man. The funnies! I mean, yeah, this movie is funny as... You know, I don't really have an appropriate synonym for that. Because Jim Carrey's pretty much the funniest actor. You know, like, I don't think I've ever laughed more in a movie than his. I'm going to say this now, but this movie can tackle serious moments, but also still make me roll around on the floor laughing. Jim Carrey is designed to be this funny news anchor who's more calm in the beginning, but still makes us laugh. Like in this line, cue the cheesy inspirational music! Which in addition to the Chariots of Fire, running for another movie, which led to the Letterboxd list, my favorite thing of all time. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go to the community chat. Go to the community tab on my YouTube page. You'll find it. This movie is filled with very good one-liners. From the simple line, "Be beautiful." I forgot to grab the DVD for the beginning of the video, but I do own the movie, and it's one of my favorite things I've ever owned, so that can just sit right here where you can all see it. Okay, so before I saw this movie, I knew who Jim Carrey was. He was the Grinch, he was Eggman, he was the Riddler, and Horton. I own a copy of that movie. I also own the Grinch on VHS, and I've seen both Sonic movies. I also own a copy I have a Blu-ray of Batman Forever and a VHS of Batman Forever. I like Jim Carrey, okay? But I've never really invested in his filmography until I saw this film. Then it began. I ate everything about this guy. I asked my dad, can we watch more of this guy? And so we watched Ace Ventura. I love Ace Ventura. Go watch the video I have on that one. Then Truman Show, an amazing film where he's a real serious actor. Now, that's not my favorite. I'd still give that one an 8 out of 10. But yeah, we'll get to that later. I'll just keep talking about this. Ace Ventura, Truman Show, Liar Liar, The Mask, Dumb and Dumber, all amazing films. This guy started out as a TV show comedian and then got his big break in a standalone film, Ace Ventura: Pet Detective, in 1994. Making good money. That's a 9 out of 10 movie because of its comedy. It doesn't need a story to be great. Okay? And that's just what I kind of want from an actor like this. Just a not great story. Just like a movie like that just needs to have funnies. That's kind of the problem with some of his movies is like they really do try too hard with the story when it really should just be, funny. Like, here's a good example. Next up is The Mask, which also released later that year in 1994. Why isn't it just about a guy with a green face? Why is there a mob boss? Like, what? I don't know. The Mask release becoming the 8th highest grossing movie of that year. And then at the end of the year, we got its final comedy, Dumb and Dumber, which, again, is way too long and has it has a story. Why? Dumb and Dumber, ironically, is the most normal character of the year, to be honest. This guy didn't stop. Next year, he was the Riddler in Batman Forever, which is kind of like the perfect role for this guy. I've always said this. I don't know if he'd be a good Joker, but the Riddler's just kind of perfect for him. 1996, we got The Cable Guy, a comedy for sure, but a really dark one. It wasn't what a lot of people were expecting. It was different when it came out. A lot of people weren't expecting another Ace Ventura, where this guy is in a wacky scenario. What's he gonna do? He kidnaps a guy's girlfriend and almost kills her, and blackmails with some frightening scenes. 7 out of 10. Okay, let's move on. I'll talk more about The Cable Guy at the end of the year. Yeesh. In 1997, we got Liar Liar, my third favorite movie of all time. I love this one. I have a video on that that's already out, I think. It's not out by the time I'm recording this because I wanted to put this out on the 2nd anniversary. But hey. In 1998, we got many people's number one choice for the best film Jim Carrey's ever done. Truman Show. I really do like The Truman Show. It's just not the most amazing film I've ever seen, When I came to Jim Carrey, I feel like if Truman Show was the first Jim Carrey film I watched, then yeah, I would have I still would have appreciated the comedy, but I pretty much know this guy as, he's a pretty serious guy. Truman Show did have comedy, it just wasn't as much as, Ace Ventura, Liar Liar, this film to an extent, it's probably the most well done Jim Carrey film. I feel like they put a lot more. This movie just means so much to me. I don't even know what it is. When I first watched it, I didn't really appreciate it. It took me a few more watches to figure out that, yeah, this movie is amazing. Lots of people don't see it that way. They only see it as oh yeah, it's a good one. I enjoy it. Truman Show is better. Oh yeah, but I don't really. I don't even know, man. I understand. Come on. It's freaking almighty. How are you giving it a 7 out of 10? It's obviously a 10. Everything about this film is just amazing. There's not much to be said about it. So, I can use this time to talk about Tom Shadyac, my favorite movie director. I'm going to go on Letterboxd. He didn't direct a lot, but I have seen most of his filmography, so I'm going to find him real quick. Tom Shadyac. He has directed 10 films, and I have seen only half of them. 5.5 of them. I've seen half of one. Half of Nutty Professor. He's directed some of my favorite films of all time. Bruce Almighty, Liar Liar, and Ace Ventura. He directed all 3 of those. He directed the follow-up to this movie, Evan Almighty, and he also did Patch Adams. So, yeah, and that was pretty good. That was a pretty fun movie. But, it's a good one. He's a really, really good director. Like, I just kind of wish he did more. Like, he didn't direct the Ace Ventura sequel. He didn't, like, who directed the Ace Ventura sequel? Well, I want to know so I can punch him. Steve Odenkirk. Is Steve Odenkirk related to Bob Odenkirk? That'd be funny. Okay, he wrote this movie, though. Did he really? You did. So yeah, I just kind of wish he did more. I actually found it really surprising when I looked up his name on Letterboxd and I saw he directed Patch Adams. He does not seem like the kind of guy who would direct that kind of movie, but this is just my favorite movie of all time, and it's a large part thanks to him because he's amazing. This is I think this was my first film of his I saw. No, I actually watched Evan first. I watched Evan on my idea before this one for some reason because I think I wanted to watch it with my family. So that shows you how much I didn't really appreciate this one yet. Also, I'm really glad that there's a liar on here. I don't know. There's just their favorite movie of all time. I like to see represented on my favorite movie of all time. So yeah. I don't really want to do an outro yet because there is one more thing I want to do before we head to that outro. I want to rank every single Jim and Carrey film I've seen, and I have a Letterboxd list, so I have not seen all of his filmography, but I have seen the ones I feel are just pretty good. Alright, I've seen 12 of them. And in last place, we have Horton Hears a Who. Actually, before we do that, I'm going to talk about Jim Carrey now. The films that he is in that I do want to see are Dumb and Dumber 2. I'm probably going to watch that in the next 2 days. Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. That one's rated R. I'm not old enough yet, I guess. I think that's pretty much it. There are a few more, but those are the main 2. Okay, let's move on. Number 12 is Horton Hears a Who. It wasn't a bad movie. It was like a 5 out of 10 for me, but like it wasn't like he did a bad job. It's just like, why is he here? I mean, it's nice to see Jim Carrey and Steve Carell back, but why was it there? Number 11 is Sonic the Hedgehog. He did an amazing job as Eggman. I just thought the movie was when he wasn't on screen, I wasn't really happy. Number 10 is Batman Forever. Yeah, this one's underrated. This one's really fun. As I said, Riddler is perfect casting for Jim. It's amazing. Number 9 is Sonic the Hedgehog 2. I think Jim Carrey's just a little better in that one because he's gone a little crazy. He went crazy in the final battle. Like, this movie is and always will be a big part of my life. I will never, ever, 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 ever stop loving this film. Ever. The video took over 5 months to write. Over 7,000 characters typed. It took over 5 months to write, film, edit, just to get it out by the 2nd anniversary of this channel. And I want to thank everyone who's ever clicked on my videos and gave me a chance. I created this channel to talk, to game, to watch movies with you guys. Like, this is the place where I get to talk. No one listens to me anywhere else. Who's gonna listen to me if I'm not behind a camera, People actually listen to me here, and that's just really, really special. There's a bug trying to get into the window. Where else are you gonna find stuff like that? It's been an amazing year. We even hit 300 subscribers. That was my goal before the end of the year. We made it. Well, okay, when did I hit it? August. That was 8. It was 4 months early. That's amazing. Thank you all so much for watching. Don't worry, I'll be here for a while. I don't plan on quitting anytime soon. YouTube is what I come home to every day. It's what I like to do. I'll see you for the next 100 Jack Pack. Thank you guys so much for watching.